Welcome, everyone, to episode 43 of our podcast, the David Guillaume podcast. I usually talk about the energy of the week. Today's actually one of the most powerful days of the year. It's considered to be the 33rd day of a 49-day period that typically is very challenging for people because there is great light, the light of the Creator coming down into this world. So if you are experiencing painful moments in your life and you're seeing negativity come up to the surface, if you're seeing parts of yourself that maybe you thought you had already transformed, but they're coming back, just know that you are not going backwards, you're actually elevating. And I'm going to speak a little bit more about that in a moment. And as you always know, our podcasts are usually around 15 to 20 minutes in length. So not too long, just enough for you to get the point, the strength, the understanding, and the tools you need to manifest miracles this week. This week is also a lot about the energy of intuition and prophecy, which I'm going to speak about this portal of energy that's called Hod. That's the H-O-D. That's what the sages call this dimension of energy where your intuition and your prophecy comes from. I'll talk a little bit about that. And as always, I'm trying to get the message of Kabbalah out to the world. And the podcast is one of the ways I do that. I don't do brand deals. I'm not here having sponsors in the beginning, middle, or end of my podcast to try to sell you something. The only thing I truly care about, and God knows how many offers I have received, 6-figure offers to just talk about a product on a podcast as a form of advertising. I am not doing any of this to enrich myself or to make money. Everything I do and the prices that I charge on my courses, everything is to go back to bringing this wisdom out to the world. I think brand deals would just be taking away from the messaging of what we're trying to accomplish here. But what I do always like to talk about in the beginning of the podcast are the things that I'm working on, the things that I think that you might benefit from or that you have asked me to create for you. And so if you are new to this and you would like to study more and you would like to learn more, I have created 3 main digital masterclasses. The first one being the most important one, which is the deep secrets of your soul, why you're here. It's the first place I would say to start. And it is on my website, davidguillaume.com. It is called Your Infinite Soul. So for many of you who have taken Kabbalah 1, which I did 7-8 years ago, this is a more curated, profound, updated version of that with much more information. And that's about a 3.5-hour masterclass. So start there. And even if you've taken Kabbalah 1, I would take Your Infinite Soul. The way I've priced it is you pay whatever you feel is right to you. I've just come out with Your Infinite Soul Level 2. So the next part of this journey, that is also on davidguillaume.com. And I've created Limitless Abundance, which is my 6-hour masterclass where I share with you everything I have, the most profound secrets, what I've learned, both in building a global wellness brand, as well as through coaching, 20 years of business coaching for people all around the world. And people tell me that when they listen to Limitless Abundance, it opens their mind, their energy, their soul to miracles in terms of building a vessel for wealth. So those are the 3 online courses that I have. I have, of course, my podcast that you're listening to. And every day on Instagram, I post these 90-second reels to help bring you little gems of wisdom and consciousness every morning. So make sure that I'm added to your favorites on Instagram so that those reels come to you, because they don't always reach people unless you're in their favorite section. And the final thing is my live tour. I will be in Los Angeles May 25th for a brand new seminar that I'm giving, an all-day seminar on love and relationships, soulmate energy. I'm going to talk about male and female dynamics. It's going to be 8 hours, super fun, people flying in from all around the world. It's also a great way to create community and connect. LA is always my most intimate crowd. It's about 200 people. Unlike some of the ones like in New York or Miami and London, those go upwards of 400 to 500. So if you're looking for more of an intimate experience, May 25th, 10 a.m. Sunday, we'll be talking about relationships. Right after that, I will be in Tel Aviv, June 6th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're going to be doing the topic on manifesting miracles, abundance, and relationships. It's so exciting. I have people flying in from all around the world. We're expecting about 500 to 600 people. And I will have translators there who will be able to translate in Hebrew if you prefer, but I will be giving it in English. That is June 6th. All right, so let's talk about the energy of this week. We talked about intuition. And where does intuition come from? Sages say that there are actually 10 dimensions of energy. And within those 10, there's other frameworks that are very complex that are in charge of how energy flows into our world. Of those 10, there's a dimension, which is the 8th from above, that is called Hod. You don't need to know all of these complexities. I'm just sharing them so that you understand that there is something profound behind the simple message I'm about to give you. This dimension of Hod, which is the 8th from the top, is responsible for the intuition and even in some cases a higher level, which is prophecy, which is a person is able to see while they are awake the future. Now, how can someone see the future? It means that the future is already fixed if you could see the future. When you go to psychics or intuitives or people who are very tapped in and they see things before they happen, what are they actually seeing? And is it recommended to go see them? There's a lot of different opinions, and some sages say you should not go to these fortune tellers or these mystics or these psychics. And that includes astrologers as well. But there's another way of looking at it, which is when a person sees the future, they are seeing one version of a destiny. So they are actually tapped into something. Our job is not just to listen to people who see things and then curate our life around what they see or react to what they see. For example, if someone sees that you are not going to have children for the next 5 years, or someone sees that you are going to stay single for the next year, or someone says, this is not the year that you're going to meet your soulmate. What they're looking at is a certain destiny that maybe you are currently in based on your soul's process, based on negativity that you have not transformed yet, based on a level of consciousness that you still need to reach to. But you have the free will to shift to another destiny that is existing in a parallel moment where you do meet your soulmate or you are able to have children. We know that even Abraham and his children, when it says that they looked into the stars, which is the astrology is really just a blueprint that explains and shows a blueprint of a metaphysical energy. So what astrology is doing is, it's not that the stars are controlling things and controlling us. It's that the stars are simply an image of something more spiritual that is occurring that we cannot see. And so when Abraham was looking at the quote unquote stars, and he saw, for example, that he was not destined to have children, what he was seeing was an imprint of his current destiny based on his tikkun process. Tikkun is Hebrew and Aramaic for your soul's correction. For example, your fear of abandonment is your tikkun. Your jealousy is your tikkun. Anger can be your tikkun. Your soul came to the world with these qualities. These are your tikkuns, and you're here to transform them. And when you do, you shift to a higher destiny. So what Abraham saw in the stars was at his current destiny, if he did nothing, if he did not work on himself, if he did not transform his nature, he would not have children. But there was another destiny higher that if he would reach that destiny, he would have a son. That son was Isaac. So his free will was when or if he would reach this higher destiny. And each one of us, as we're listening now, you have a destiny that you are in. And that destiny is quite fixed. Who you're going to meet, what you're going to do, how many children you're going to have, how much money you're going to make, whether a person lives or dies, like all of that is already determined in the destiny they are at. But what we want to do is rise higher and higher to those destinies where there is greater fulfillment. Those destinies where we feel free, those destinies where we have certainty, those destinies where we feel peace of mind, or we have healing. The cancer cells are no longer there. Our children, maybe in this destiny, don't have the protection they need, but in the higher destiny, they do. And so every day when we wake up, we have the opportunity and the free will, and we are given tests in order to get there, to shift to a higher destiny. Now, how do you do that? We've always shared this, that whenever you have pain or lack, that is a test, a shift to a higher destiny. That's when your free will kicks in. That's when now you say, I'm going to be a creator. There's a moment here where I'm not receiving anything. I don't feel good. No one's treating me the right way. I'm not getting respected. The children are acting a certain way. My spouse is acting a certain way. My boss doesn't appreciate me. I'm just not feeling good. This is a test from above for you to shift to a higher destiny. I remember that last week I was in Spain. I was in Ibiza for a wellness retreat. Several of us were invited to speak at it, but more than coming to speak, I came to learn. I came to learn from other amazing spiritual leaders. Some of the best people I've ever met in my life, I met at this event. It was at the Six Senses in Ibiza, and there was about 200 of us. It was put on by Intelligent Change, which is a wonderful organization that Alex and Mimi Icon have curated over the last 3 years. And when I was there, many of you know that Melissa Wood and Jenna and I are quite close, and we were all there at the event. And after I gave my seminar, something very interesting. Somebody asked me a question in the middle of the seminar. They said, "Can you share with us your morning routine?" And what they were expecting me to say was, I have this like really, really thoughtful Zen morning routine. I wake up, like I'm doing some kind of meditation, some kind of prayer, maybe some kind of wellness activity, and spending about 2 hours preparing my consciousness and then getting to the day. What I shared with them is that actually, authentically to me, the first thing I do is I just pick up my phone. I literally pick up my phone and I just make sure everybody's okay. I make sure, does anything happen with the kids? Did anything happen? Did Mary Ruth anything? Did my employees write something that happened in the middle of the night? Is Mary Ruth Organics okay? Like, I do that as the very first thing. Now, is that right? Is that wrong? I was really leaning into we all feel so much guilt and shame around this is how my routine needs to be. And if you're not meditating the first 10 minutes of the day, or if you touch your phone, you are a bad person. There's a lot of narrative around that out there. And I basically said, whether I take 30 minutes before I touch my phone and meditate, or I touch my phone right away, I've learned I just have to do what is authentic to me without guilt or shame. Because the most important thing is, do not start your day feeling bad about anything. Now, granted, maybe I could test out not having the phone. Maybe I should test out having the phone. And I have to find out what works best for me. And what I'm sharing with you is, often we look at what other people do and we say, well, I need to live that way. I can share with you examples of how I live my life. And by no means is it perfect. I make so many mistakes on a daily basis that I would never want somebody to model the way I live my life or my day around what I do, because I'm growing the same way you're growing. I'm going through tests the same way you're going through tests. I have the same types of challenges as everyone else out there. And I have the same failure rate as everybody out there. I think the only difference is when you're surrounded by the right community, the right wisdom, and you have truly a desire to want to grow, I think that even though each one of our failure rates will be the same, the bounce back rate is where it gets different. And so I know when I make a mistake, I have learned not to sit in it for hours, days, weeks, months, and years, because the real test isn't the fact that I fell. The real test is how bad I feel about it later. And this is really something important for all of us. What is your bounce back rate? And so going back to what the answer is that I shared with the crowd, I said, look, find the routine that works best for you, that you feel is making you happy and is putting you in the best position to pass your test. Now, what was interesting was that Melissa came to me after the event and she said to me, and this is the power of Melissa and Jenna, by the way, and if you don't listen to their podcast yet, or if you don't know who they are, it's Melissa Wood Health. Melissa Wood Teppenberg is her Instagram channel and her podcast, and Jenna Zoe is her Instagram and her podcast, and they bring forth the most incredible spiritual and physical wisdom. And I know many of our audience, we share the similar audience and similar content. And one of the things that we have done for each other, and I know what they do for me, is really in the right time, in the right way, share advice. And we're together a lot, but we're not just like telling each other what to do. And we're also not avoiding sharing with each other where we think limitations are. And so Melissa afterwards shared with me something so powerful. She said, look, I have felt this for a while. You specifically, if you had a morning where you were more intentional, and I'm usually racing out of the house. I got to take care of 4 kids because I have to go to where Mary Ruth is, and the kids are there. And I have to like get them ready for school, and everything is so hectic. I actually don't start my spiritual routine till like 8 or 9 o'clock. I'll wake up at 5 or 6, but I won't actually get into the right consciousness till 8 or 9. It hasn't always been like that, but it has been recently. And she just tapped in and she's like, I think if right when you get back home, you get back into intentionality with even waking up a little bit earlier and setting the tone for the day, it's going to change your life. Now, for me, it was said at the perfect time with so much love. And I felt that was a message from the Creator. And from the first moment I made a decision when I came back to Los Angeles, I was going to do that. So yesterday and today were the first days I did that. And I'm sharing this story with you because I feel like all of us go through some version of this one way or another. And I want to share with you what I went through and then how I handled it. Once I made the decision to be intentional, something very interesting happened. I didn't even want to wake up in the morning. Once I made a decision the night before, tomorrow morning, I am going to wake up a certain way. I'm going to manifest a certain way. I'm going to have certainty. I am going to create amazing things in my life. I experienced the exact opposite when I woke up in the morning. I experienced like a lethargy, a sadness, a low to no desire to want to do anything. And then what I did is, you know what? I said to myself, I'm going to sit in that and I'm going to just choose to feel that way for an hour. Now, why did I do that? And what's the lesson behind that? I told myself, instead of just bypassing it quickly and having certainty and just being excited about the day, which is also something you can do to snap into a higher level of consciousness, that moment I chose to feel sad. Choosing to feel sad is actually very powerful. When a person is sad, it says that the Shekhinah, which is the name of the light of the Creator, the presence of the light of the Creator in this physical world, does not rest on this person. And when the Shekhinah does not rest on this person, they cannot have divine inspiration and intuition and prophecy, which is what we all want, going back to what the energy of this week is. So when a person is sad, they cannot receive the right messages. When a person is sad, you cannot receive innovation or the right ideas or feel what other people need. When a person is sad, they're disconnected from the light of the Creator. So you are not tapped into the universal GPS. Unless the choosing of being sad, the choosing of feeling the pain, of feeling the mourning, being curious about what you're feeling is a choice you're making temporarily, not because you feel like you're a victim, not because you're trying to spite other people or get attention. Some people choose to be sad to get attention. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about choosing to feel those feelings because you are curious about where they're coming from and why they are there. And you do not just want to bypass them so quickly. There is no right answer to what you should do. I want you to try to feel the intelligence of the intention of what I'm sharing. Who is in control and why are you doing what you're doing? If you are sad and you're saying, you know what, I'm going to choose to be happy. I'm going to choose certainty because that is the vibration of the light of Creator. And that's how you create miracles. You're going to see miracles. If you say, I feel sad. I want to know why this feeling is what I'm feeling. I don't want to bypass it. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to fully feel that pain. Because by fully feeling that pain, I will better understand what the Creator wants from me and why He has sent this feeling. This also will create miracles. Notice that we're doing two polar opposite actions, but resulting in the same elevation to miracles. It comes down to your goal, your intention, your why. I was sitting here with my marketing team talking about pricing and talking about how to bring this wisdom to the world. And again, everything we're doing is how do we bring this wisdom out to as many people as possible? But there's real world problems. There's technology issues, there's costs, there's advertising, and there's a balancing act that has to happen. And people were giving out this marketing idea and that marketing idea, and none of it really felt right to me. Because I always went back to why are we doing what we're doing? If it doesn't energetically align with your why, it's not right. This has happened so many times to me that I've been interviewing employees and they have flawless resumes and everything is there, but something just doesn't feel right according to my why, according to where I'm coming from. This is the week that each one of us can connect to our why, our purpose, what we want. If you're not clear about what you want, the universe is not clear with what you want. I just had a lunch meeting with someone and she was saying that she's had this incredible successful run for many, many years and things are amazing. Things are selling and things are growing. But she was asking herself, I'm not sure what my goal is this year. Now, we all have grace when it comes to not knowing what our goals are. But if enough time goes by where you are not clear about what you want, the angels of this world, the atoms of this world, the elements of this world, from the mineral to the vegetative, the animal to the human kingdom, cannot help you if you do not know why. This week, the gates of Hod, which are intuition, prophecy, seeing the future, seeing who you are, seeing your perfected self, is open, which means you can easily tap into your why. You should trust your intuition this week. You should trust that sensitive gut feeling that comes into you this week. And you should write down, journal, ask the question, what do I want? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Even if your goals are small, even if they're monetary, be clear about them. If your goal is just to make $100,000, be very clear about that. Because everything that will come to you from that moment on is to help you achieve that. And when I made a goal the night before that I wanted to be intentional about the morning in order to have a miraculous day, and that was my goal, what did I experience as soon as I wanted that? The exact opposite feeling, which is what is going to happen to you. When you have a goal to reach something, you will be given the exact opposite of that goal. You will be given, if you want to have certainty, you will be given doubts. If you want to have compassion, you will be given things that make you angry. If you want to have patience, you will have things that are going to press your button and make you feel out of control. If you want a soulmate, you're going to get a cellmate. If you want to have friends, you're going to feel lonely. Every time you put a goal out there and you're clear about your goal, the second thing you're going to experience is the opposite of that goal, because the opposite is what creates the vessel. As long as you lean into it, as long as you choose certainty and choose to be like the creator, all the things that we talk about in your infinite soul, which is the structure of Kabbalah and why we came to this world, if you choose that light when you feel dark, this is how you get to your goal. So when you feel like you're going backwards, you're actually going forwards. When you feel like you are relapsing, you're not going backwards. You're going to the bottom of the next level. When you feel you're the top and you're the king and everything's working great for you, and the next day you feel sadness and you feel like you don't want to do anything and you feel like you've gone backwards, you've actually gone to the bottom of the next level. So you are higher, but it feels like you're lower because you're at the bottom of the next level. You were the star player on the junior varsity team, but then you were sitting on the bench and you're a mediocre player on the varsity team. But that's okay. You are ascending. You are ascending. So, in summary, this is the week where the gates are open to know your why, to know you're perfected yourself, to know who you're going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, 100 lifetimes. You can see it. You can feel it. How? Just ask. Just listen. These thoughts and ideas are coming to us. We're not trusting it. Just take a moment, even if you go for a walk or you talk out loud to the creator, which I always talk about and the sages talk about. Well, ask, what does my perfected self look like? And see what comes to you in a vision, in a sound, in a conversation. Maybe you open up a magazine and you'll see something that really resonates with you. You're seeing a version of you in 50 years, a version of you in 5 lifetimes. Or all of that can happen immediately for you. The time it takes for you to get to your perfected self, that is your free will. When darkness comes, when pain comes, choosing certainty, choosing the fact that nothing is wrong at that moment. I am whole. I am whole at this moment. I am not missing anything. It might look like I am, but I am choosing to be whole. That mantra, that choice, that pause, and believing that your lack is an illusion is the thing that collapses time and allows you to shift to a brand new destiny. The more you do that, when the tests come, the faster you shift. So yeah, if every psychic in the world told you about your future, the problem with people who are very spiritual, who are very intentional, who are always trying to grow, you will cause every psychic around you to have their visions expire in moments because they see a future that you have already risen above because you have consciousness. You have certainty. You know there's no test that you're not going to pass. And the more painful the test, the higher you will leap to your new destiny.